Japanese textbooks never teach this. But this tiny speech particle "jan" that you probably heard a million times. It's one of the biggest reasons why Japanese sound relaxed, natural, like you actually belong here. And as a native, I'll be honest with you, it's almost impossible to speak real casual Japanese or fully connect with your Japanese friends without understanding "jan." And yeah, it is confusing. It was confusing even for me when I started breaking it down. So I understand why most Japanese teachers never teach this and learners never get what this actually means. But once you see what it's actually doing, it's way simpler than it looks. So in this video, let's clear the confusion and master "jan" starting today. By the way, I have a free masterclass where I break down how Japanese actually works. No textbook fluff, no what teachers explain, but the real social side you need to know. So grab it from the link in the description after this video. So the first and the most common way Japanese people use "jan" is to show that something is obvious, already known, or should be clear. So this isn't aggressive or rude or confrontational like most people think. It's an emotional emphasis. You're not adding information by using "jan", but you're adding stance. So think of it like saying, "See, I told you," like obviously, come on, but softer, more human, more inside a relationship kind of way. Now let me give you a couple examples so you understand what "jan" actually does here. So the first example is 言ったじゃん. 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 So it's like saying I told you. See, I told you. So 言った, you already know what it means. 言った basically means I told you or I said. But this "jan" adds emotional weight. It signals familiarity or mild frustration. It assumes shared memory and frames the situation as we already know this. Without "jan", 言った, 言った sounds cold, flat, emotionally detached like a report. But with "jan", 言ったじゃん, 言ったじゃん. Now you sound like someone emotionally involved, like someone already inside the relationship. No explaining, but reacting like a human. And another example is かわいいじゃん, かわいいじゃん, かわいいじゃん. Means it's cute or you're cute, and that should be obvious. So this is not just stating a fact. You're implying you see it too, right? Like come on, it's cute. Or why are you acting like it's not? So you are starting shared perception, not asking for agreement. And that's why it sounds very natural between friends. Without "jan", かわいい, かわいい. This works by sounds neutral, observational, or emotionally thin. But with "jan", かわいいじゃん, かわいいじゃん, かわいいじゃん. Now it feels emotionally alive, playful, or like you actually mean it. So using "jan" like this lets you stop sounding like you're reporting information and assume shared understanding without asking for permission. Signal we're on the same page and sound like someone who belongs in the conversation or relationship. And this is why natives use "jan" constantly. They are not using this for grammar or correctness, but because it locks you into the social flow. The second major use of "jan" is no emphasis. It's about shared context. Here, "jan" is used when both people should already be on the same page. You're referencing a shared experience, plan, or assumption. So this use is not about obviousness. So you're basically saying, you remember this, right? We already talked about this. This is part of our shared context. But again, softly, not explicitly. Now let me show you a couple examples. この前サッカーしたじゃん. この前サッカーしたじゃん. So it's basically saying, we played soccer the other day, remember? You're inviting them back to a shared memory. So what "jan" does here is, it assumes shared experience. It kind of tests alignment. It lets you see if the person remembers it without asking a question. So if they respond naturally like saying, now you guys are on the same page. You guys are synced. Or if they look confused or hesitated, you know you're not on the same page. At least this person is not following what you're saying. And now I'm gonna give you a longer example so you can see how this "jan" is actually used in real life situation. 今度一緒に勉強するじゃん。その前に一緒にご飯食べない? So it's basically saying we are studying together soon, right? When I eat before that. So this "jan" here lets you do something powerful. You're not asking from zero. You guys are building a new plan. You're building on existing shared plans. You're lightly reminding without pressure. And you sound relaxed and natural. Without "jan", 今度一緒に勉強する. 今度一緒に勉強する. It sounds textbook, robotic, like an announcement. But with "jan", you sound like someone already inside a plan, or someone allowed to casually extend it. So using Jan this way lets you confirm shared understanding without interrogating. Invite agreement without forcing it. Avoid over-explaining. Read the room before continuing, and gain real social awareness. So it lets you constantly adjust based on shared context. And that's how you make casual Japanese conversations feel smooth. But how do we tell the difference between the first use and the second use? Good question. And actually, there's a very simple way to do that. When you use Jan with an obvious emphasis, say Jan with a flat or slightly falling tone at the end. So say like this. 言ったじゃん。言ったじゃん。言ったじゃん。言ったじゃん。かわいいじゃん。かわいいじゃん。かわいいじゃん。And the way you want to use Jan to check shared context alignment, say Jan a bit softer or slight rise at the end. So for example, この前サッカーしたじゃん。この前サッカーしたじゃん。この前サッカーしたじゃん。この前サッカーしたじゃん。Can you hear it sounds softer than the first one? 今度一緒に勉強するじゃん。今度一緒に勉強するじゃん。That's how you make the difference. It might be hard to tell the difference at first, but I promise it will be easier as you hear more. Jan. So now you know what Jan actually does. Think of Jan like a social tool. You learn how Jan lets you assert shared reality, how it lets you check alignment without awkwardness, and how it instantly makes you sound involved without distant. When you use Jan correctly, you stop sounding flat. You stop positioning yourself as an outsider. You start sounding someone like who belongs in conversation. That's why natives use it constantly. Not to be just casual, but to stay in sync. I also have a free masterclass where I break down Japanese on another level. The social layer that decides whether you belong or stay distant. So if you care about human connection in Japan, check the link in the description. And I also keep teaching you casual Japanese in a human way. So make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. お疲れ。